Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hopefully the streaming software will not actually crash this time. And we're bringing you something special. Yes, we are bringing you Battlefield 4 5-on-5 Domination competition style. Now, we're just getting the teams into the server, and I have the distinct pleasure of being joined by a colleague from the Battlefield community. We have Phantom in with us. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing, Chad?
I'm doing very well. I'm looking forward to this. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Phantom, tell us exactly what you do in Battlefield.
So I'm from a team called XTS-Esports, and I help run the YouTube channel over there. And I'm also part of the European Battlefield team.
Fantastic. Now, so obviously you can look forward to lots of footage of me commentating on his many deaths that will be coming forth with. So we're just waiting for the teams to get themselves set up. So you can see in the server at the moment we've got Beckenbush. Oh god, I'm going to assassinate these names as usual. And these guys are just getting themselves together. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the free cams. So we've got all the various free cams set up into our locations, and you can see now that we can move between all the various locations as these guys are getting themselves set up for a little bit of domination action. Now, obviously, with Phantom being quite a professional player in that respect, we have him here as basically the expert on the scene. So, looking at this from a tactical point of view, how would you start off when it comes to actually taking the points, Phantom? What's your thoughts on the best point to take? How would you hold it? Things like that. What's your thoughts?
So when I was viewing this last night, we saw Nexus and Exertus and a few other teams playing, and one thing they were doing was taking C and B. There's a big emphasis on that, and putting one guy on the roof. Putting one guy on the roof actually gives you a good kind of view over the whole map, and you can hold that line like on B really well from up there.
Right, now obviously that's the area above C, so that's pretty much the glass ceiling up the top there, and so they've got good visibility, like you were saying, over B area and also down towards A, so this is a good position for them to be. Now obviously there's still there's plenty of action going to be coming from both of these teams once everybody gets in. Now obviously you've got plenty of cover available. This will all disappear over the course of the time of the map. So obviously you've got the high street along by the wreckage at B, you've got the streets with the barricades, plenty of space, and obviously there's the shop and the storefronts over by A. So one thing that we will be guaranteed is lots of very quick action. So we'll just have to wait and see, because you're going to have somebody up as it has been known or called by some people as rooftop domination, as this is going to be interesting to see what's turning out. Now, did you see any kind of preponderance when it comes to the actual use of weapons in domination, Phantom?
Well, I saw a lot of masses being used. Scar H's, the whole of Exertus was using the Scar H because it's a 2-shot kill to the head at any range with that weapon.
Okay, now, do you see much use of the ACWR or the AK-12 or anything along those lines? Because obviously the Scar is slightly slower psychic weapon than the likes of the ACWR, but are they going for kind of the punch that the weapon gives rather than spitting out the bullets?
Yeah, well, Exertus were, but then I also saw Flot, I think it was. They were using the AK-12 on burst mode, the 2-shot burst.
Ah, now, that's interesting, because that reminds me of the AN-94 from Battlefield 3, which was quite a deadly piece of machinery if used in the right hands. Now, obviously, we're going to see these guys pretty experienced when it comes to shooting these kind of weapons from Battlefield 3, and we're looking forward to a good game. So, obviously, we've got there's 2 Easy Brosive and Crook 9D coming in. We've got Donut and Tort de Toads, who I think we've just called Tort, it's just easier. And on the Alpha team, which is of course China, we have Toofy, we have Crazy Baz, Artisan Orgasmo, wonderful name, and ADI and Beckenbush. So we're just waiting for, I think, the last member of the team to come in, and we should be underway very shortly. I'm looking forward to looking forward even to this, Phantom. It's going to be a blast.
It's going to be really good. I'm looking around at the teams right now, and it seems everyone is either using the ACW or the AK-12 right now.
Ah, that's interesting, because obviously the one thing you do tend to notice is that the play styles and the weapons that tend to be used vary sometimes from between America and European scenes. I know that happened in TF2, that probably happened in Battlefield 3. Obviously, everybody ran with the M16A3 for obvious reasons, but it's going to be interesting to see how these guys actually play compared to the American scene.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the Americans last night were... Some teams were just bunching up completely and being very aggressive. That's a general trend we saw like the whole of last night.
Yeah, right, so I think one more person to come in and we should be underway. So we are in the process of watching and waiting. This is the exciting part. This is known as the dead air section. This is the bit where myself and Phantom basically have to talk inane and utter trivia for a period of time while these guys get themselves sorted. Now, obviously, for those of you who are not aware, this is how the internet works when it comes to competitive gaming, because the amount of times I've just sat here having to fill dead air while somebody has crashed or somebody's lost connection or somebody's sister's decided to download from Spotify and the guy can't get on the server. So we end up essentially sitting here twiddling our thumbs trying to think about something interesting to talk to while these guys are sorting themselves out. And it's a struggle, I have to say, but I'm kind of used to it. Anyway, so let's see what's going on as we're just looking at the various teams. Now, I can see some of these guys in with tri-lasers as well. Now, obviously, what's your experience thus far of Battlefield 4, Phantom? Are you erring towards one particular weapon? How are you feeling generally about the beta?
I think it's been going really, really well. I mean, I've not had any of the performance issues that most people have had, but I've had the experience of playing all the game modes in comp style throughout the past couple of days, and the two that are really striking out to me are 5v5 Domination and 10v10 Conquest.
Now, that's interesting because obviously Conquest Small was played as a 5v5 on Battlefield 3. Why is 10v10 striking you as a good competitive mode for Battlefield 4?
Well, we've only got this one map to go from, and 5v5 is a bit too... like, the map is far too big to play 5v5 on. Yeah,
fair argument. I mean, obviously, when it came to 5v5, even though I hate to say it, Metro is probably more suited to a 5v5 Conquest-style map than the one that we've got at the moment. But obviously, Metro, who doesn't love Metro?
I love Metro.
Yeah, everybody loves Metro. Especially if you like screen shake. That's always quite entertaining. If you like lots of screen shake, then yeah, Metro's your kind of map. And it's coming back for Battlefield 4, so it should be interesting to see how that turns out. And obviously, if we're lucky, there may be servers on there that say no explosives, no grenades, no nothing, not even guns. You've got to knife each other, and that's about it. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, you can see, obviously, what they've done is they're just restarting the round, or the round's ended, and they're moving on to the next one, and they should be underway pretty soon. So I'm looking to see if I'm getting messages from the teams. Let's see. Yeah, they're having join problems apparently, so this is not outside of the realms of possibility. Now, one thing I am interested to know is, obviously, you're based in Europe and you play quite a bit on American servers. How have you found the performance of Battlefield 4 playing on an American server from your location?
Well, in Battlefield 3 it was a bit hit and miss, you know. It was all down to the server provider, but in Battlefield 4 I've been able to play at 180 ping and not notice a difference, really.
Yeah. Now, one thing I have noticed, I've actually been playing now. Obviously, I know for a fact there has been issues with Battlefield 3 and relating to things like console players because of lag compensation. So it means that American players will play on European servers, and because of lag compensation, it would give them a massive advantage and not really fair for the opposing team. So I think we might actually be underway, as I think we've got 5v5. So I think it's fair to say, yep, there we go, the fire has begun, and as you can see, it looks like Orgasmo has been taken down. He went like that, and it looks like what they're doing is they're actually lowering the barriers around the A point to make it harder to get into A, so we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. And you can now see as the teams are making their way up, you can see Crazy Baz making his way up past the B point, up the street, down towards the A point. Now, let's see how things are turning out. It looks like the Chinese team, Alpha team, and you can see them in blue on the observer mode, currently taking a few casualties. You can see, I think it's fair to say that the TF team has the advantage at the moment. What do you think, Phantom?
Oh yeah, definitely. But is it actually live? Because I'm
I
seeing
don't
people
know.
without actually any kills right now.
Well, that's a possibility. If you've seen me play, you would know that's a very real possibility. So let's just wait and see. Let's see if we can... What we'll do is we'll lock in on Beckenbruch. Yeah, there we go. He's just killed someone. So that's a good sign. So let's just proceed on the assumption that it is live. That's one thing that we definitely need for final release, is the possibility of a countdown system and a ready up system, similar to what you have with Counter-Strike. That kind of thing would be very helpful indeed. So as you can see, currently at the moment, let's just see that the burn is sitting with the US team. They have 2 points, and you can see C now in the process of being captured by the US team as a bit of fire coming back from Beckenbrook, taking down multiple members of the Chinese team. Too Easy Brosiv and Asterix are in there, and they're having a little bit of fun and games as Orgasmo finally gets taken down, and it's looking pretty good as far as TF, Crazy Baz and friends are concerned, Phantom.
Broseph just went on a crazy killing spree there and got 3 before he got taken out.
Oh, good stuff. Let's see. Well, we're just going to watch Brosiv, and we can see him. He obviously looks like he's in with the AK-12, possibly. That's one thing that's... let's just check on the third person. So he's in. He's in with the AK-12. He's got the Cobra and the Cobra RDS, and the laser sight and the muzzle brake. So these are all things that will help him, give him additional hip firing accuracy and things of that nature. And you can see a lovely shot coming in as Brosiv decides to take a quick run for it, and unfortunately gets shot in the bottom. So not looking good for Brosiv as we move in to have a look at Crooked, as he's moving around the C area, trying to take cover by the dragon, the ornate dragon statue, as he's pushing in towards the A point and trying to defend from one of the roofers. So there's a roofie up there on the C point, and as you stated beforehand, that seems to be a pretty good area to actually camp from, Phantom.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I'm seeing right now is what was happening last night. Was a lot of clumping going on.
Clumping?
Which isn't really helping. Like, they're spending more time between the flags and on the flag, which isn't helping them at all.
Yeah, now, did you see the clumping mainly coming from the Chinese team or the US team, or was it a combination of both?
I think it was just the general, like, the team who was playing. It was just up to them, really.
Now, isn't that always a danger that sometimes happens? You see clumping happening a lot in public servers, but that tends to be around the flags and things of that area for all those points whores and medic people to get all that lovely stuff, points for them. But it's a difficult thing because obviously one thing I've tended to find in Battlefield 4 is that the effects of bullets hitting you are actually quite a little bit more severe. There's less suppression, but you actually do kind of feel the effect of those bullets hitting you. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you can see now as we're watching the US team moving up towards the B point. Now the B point's in the process of being captured. You can see a couple of the US team now being taken down, and there we go, another member of the US team being taken down. That was ADI, and you can now see the China team. It looks like they haven't captured the C point. Now the trouble is that means that the C point is now available for the US team to spawn in on, and they can actually outflank those guys who are on the B wreckage road. So we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. And you can see at the moment 157 tickets for China, 253 tickets for the United States. So the US have the advantage thus far, and now China's rolling out from the C point. Now this is rather odd because if you notice that they're actually rolling out into that C area, but they haven't actually managed to capture that C point, and they need to get the bleed off because now they've got a full bleed on. They have all the points, the US team, and this gives them a massive advantage, Phantom.
I think China's just in a bit of a... They don't even know what's going on at the minute, I think.
Yeah, now bear in mind, obviously, this is a... there was going to be a opposing team coming in on China, so this is a mixed team who are in playing, and my thanks go out to all of the players for taking the time to help us test this and get involved, so... It's all very good, and we're enjoying things so far. So let's see if we can lock in on the first person as we move in with Cooked. Now, one thing I think you did mention on the pre-game section is you saw people using the M26 Mass. So this team proves to be quite an effective gun, wouldn't you agree?
I mean, I was using it last night and I was easily getting triple kills, so...
Now, one thing I did notice when I've seen it being used a few times, I saw it being used by Brett, it's actually reasonably good at distance as well. How have you found it generally as a close-up weapon?
I feel it's more balanced at range than the BF3 Mass was, but it's pretty deadly at close range, so it's fairly balanced in my opinion.
Okay, I'm just making sure we haven't got any drop frames on the cast, so I just want to make sure, because somebody just said not live now. So, you know, it might be just them warming up. We'll have to wait and see. But the thing is, at the end of the day, we're still going to commentate on the action because it's fun. Now, that's another thing. I just saw a res done by Tort onto his teammate. Now, it looks like he's just come round the corner, took down ADI, but his teammate was behind him. And poor old Tort is no more. Now, obviously, part of the problem you used to have on Battlefield 3 was the massive res trains. Obviously, those of you who are familiar with Grand Bazaar and places like that are familiar with that particular thing. Now, how have you found the teams using the resing mechanic in Battlefield 4 Phantom?
Well, I've not actually seen teams resing that often, because most of them are not even running defibs, from last night anyway. And I think we'll see that a lot of teams choosing not to run defibs.
Really, that's interesting. So, in other words, because at the moment, the time to revive somebody before they disappear and then respawn is actually quite small. So, you think teams are actually going for the option not to actually revive and take the ticket hit?
Well, another thing that comes into it as well is there's no revive protection right now, so...
There is that point, yes. So obviously these are things that might actually happen. So we're looking at the teams at the moment, 230 to 66. Let's have a look at the individual players. So we're looking at Crazy Baz at the moment. So you can see him making his way over towards the C point, which is in the process of being captured by the Chinese team. And you can see him trying to engage a few members of the Chinese team who are trying to defend that point as one of his enemies gets taken down. And I think we just had a crash out by a member of the Chinese team, so we'll just have to wait and see what goes on with that. Let's just make sure, I'm just checking to make sure that things are going on and that funky things are occurring. Sorry, I'm being sent Skype messages at the same time, and you know, I'm trying to juggle many chainsaws and it's not going well. So you can see now, unfortunately it's 5v4, so you can see a lot of fire coming into Donut there. Donut's trying to recover and firing back at him, so you can see obviously there's Crazy Baz in, and he's in with the AK-5C. Now obviously the AK-12 obviously not the weapon of choice, but pretty much everyone's running medic with the exception of Crooked. Now that doesn't exactly come as a surprise, does it, Phantom?
What was he running?
He was running Sniper.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, obviously, the snipers on this game, very interesting because you don't necessarily just need sniper rifle. You can use the carbine. So, is it possible that they may actually have a new role to play within competition? Or do you think that things are actually going to remain as assault class predominantly, especially when it comes to domination or small conquest?
Well, I think in the game modes of vehicles we'll see a lot of recons because the ability they have with their personal laser designator, but
yeah,
domination I don't think we'll see it that much, to be honest.
Not really, no, because obviously, yeah, I don't know, you're not really going to see anything C4 unless it's a little bit of a troll, to be honest, to be fair, but we'll just have to wait and see how the teams work that out, because invariably from Battlefield 3 they tended to pretty much be either assault or they would be engineer, because if you play Conquest small then there would still be sometimes an LAV available to that person or to one of the teams, and so you had to have an engineer to counter that accordingly. That used to happen on things like Grand Bazaar. Now, obviously, Conquest Domination, completely different game type. Have you been playing a little bit of Obliteration? How would you see that as a competitive game mode? Does it have a future?
We tried that last night, 10v10, and we just switched it back to Conquest after one round because it was completely pointless.
In what respect pointless? Perhaps you can expand on that.
It was just a whole lot of running around. Nothing was really happening. I mean, I think we saw about 4 people each the whole round. Like, there wasn't really a lot of coordination between the teams. Like,
I think also because it's a very hectic game mode, especially when you play it in a public server. But obviously, when you play it under competitions terms and things of that nature, it's slightly different. So we're just waiting to see, and we'll follow on as take this as the second round. And now you can see it looks like the US team has actually got that point. Now, one thing for you guys who are wondering, you're not hearing any game sounds. This is currently a bug. It has been reported to EA and DICE, is the fact that you don't hear game sounds until this piece of music has actually finished playing. Now, we're just watching Crazy Baz. He's just taken out 3 members of the opposing team. So you can now see, yeah, it looks like the teams have actually been changed round. So now it looks like TF and Crazy Baz and friends are in as China, and the opposing team are in as the US. So it looks like changing it round. And there's Crazy Baz going up against the likes of Too Easy Bros if he gets taken out. And it's looking pretty good with Crazy Baz with 2 kills for nothing, and Artisan ADI being taken out. So let's have a look at the actual spread of points as far as the teams are concerned. So you can see Asterix up there from UMAV, currently 3-1. He's looking good score-wise, and Crazy Baz obviously top of his scores for China. And you can see that at the moment China has 2 of the points, and it looks like the C point is in the process of being captured now. So what's your thoughts so far on this particular round?
At the start, US were pushing up the left side of the map. That is something that needs to happen on US side, because if you don't try that at the start, then you just get locked in straight away.
Now we can see there's obviously a little bit of there's a bit of tactical elevatoring going on over here. As you can see now, obviously we've got a member that's Crazy Baz popping out some nades to one of the enemy. Oh, look at that stunning nade from Crazy Baz, drops it right next to poor old Asterix, who took a very quick trip on high explosive airways. And now we're watching to see what's going on as the point is being controlled by the US team, and point B is now in the process of being captured. Let's lock in and follow the individual team members. We're watching Orgasmo at the B point. He's by the flaming lorry. The flag is being raised, and they're going after a couple of guys with a spawn M26 mass into the chest, and they are no more. The B point has been captured. The burn is now looking in favour of the US team. They only have 1 point as a nice shot takes down Orgasmo. And it's certainly looking a little bit different this time. Points are quite close. You can see US at 234 tickets, China at 273. So the burn, it's still up for grabs, wouldn't you think, Phantom?
Oh yeah, we just saw 4v1 there that happened badly for a donut.
Oh dear, poor Donut. Has been frosted, and well done indeed. So let's just see what's going on as we're seeing Too Easy Bros and making a run past us. We're watching Orgasmo trying to engage these guys. He gets taken down very quickly as he didn't have much cover available to him. And now let's see if we can find out as we move over to Toofy. You see Toofy getting involved, taking a pistol shot from Tort. Tort then gets taken down very quickly indeed. And this is a quick push in by the US team to point C. But unfortunately, it's looking like point C looks like they may actually be able to hold it. The Chinese team might be in a good position to hold that point. And the attempt by the US team to try and take it may have been unsuccessful, but they've got a couple of guys who are making it into the shop, as there we go, looks like a couple of the Chinese team taking them down as 2 more members of the US team push in and are trying to capture that C point, as the A point is currently being looked after by China and the B point has now been captured by them. So the pressure is now on the US team, Phantom.
Yeah, one thing I was wondering is why they aren't using the power-up weapons.
In what respect? Perhaps you could elaborate.
There's a power-up weapon right by Donut, and he didn't seem to want to pick it up.
Aha, so what you're talking about is the USAS that's available in the C point, and obviously you do have the... I don't think the grenade launcher is available, or is it?
The grenade launcher is right by the bridge in the top left.
Indeed, yes. So we're over by the grenade launcher at the moment. And then obviously the skill cannon, as X Factor likes to call it, but the massive high caliber sniper rifle is down in the bottom left hand corner near the A point. So you can see that will be down here. Now it looks like that may have been picked up, and we're now watching as you can see more members of the IP team as the Americans are being cut to pieces. Poor old Too Easy Brosiv is the only man left standing. Let's see if we can lock in on him as he's taking a little bit of fire, takes down Bockenbrook, and now he's got Donut in there to support him as he's taking down PTFO. Fee, and let's just find out what's going on, as now this is not a good situation as far as Brosiv is concerned, as he may be locked into that position. He's looking okay thus far, and he's taking a little bit of fire coming in from the grenades, a bit of a blood splat going on, and Brosiv is taken down very quickly indeed. As we move over to Orgasmo, he was the one who took down Brosiv, and now you can see the points being indicated by the commander. So there's also obviously the advantage that it gives them is the fact that they specify those commander positions, or they specify those commander orders, then they get the benefit of that along with the additional upgrades. Now... yeah,
that's a key in this game mode, definitely.
Yeah, now obviously, did you see them using the offensive game mode, or the offensive perk, or the defensive perk?
I think it comes down to playstyles. I mean, Exertus we all use an offensive because they like that extra speed boost at the start.
Yeah. Now, obviously, yeah, it depends. Would you say, I mean, looking at this at the moment, would you say that the Americans team tend to play a bit more aggressively or more defensively, or does it depend entirely on the actual game at the time?
I think it's a lack of coordination. They're not leaving anyone on the flag at the minute. They're just all running around.
Yeah, now the thing is, obviously, bear in mind, this is a mixed team, so you wouldn't expect the cohesiveness that you normally would have with an organised team. So, yeah, though, to be fair to the guys on the China side, or sorry, on the US side, it's going to be a difficult situation playing against an established clan, as fire comes in there as XTS-Bas takes down the man who was camping on the B point, and now he's exchanging fire down the B street towards the sniper rifle and the A capture points. So popping a nade over in towards the shopping area. This is no time to go shopping. We're here for gunfights, and we're watching Baz as he moves in. So let's see if we can find out how the spread of the actual teams are going on. So you can see pretty much at the moment the focus by the China team, they're focusing on A, and it seems that literally when a team is focusing on A, that they then kind of tend to capture B at the same time, but then lose the other point C. Now, do you think it's a good idea that the teams stay together, or is this the kind of thing where you can break it down into a 2v2 and then maybe have an additional one as a roamer? What's your thoughts, Phantom?
I think running a 2-2-1 is a great idea on this side, especially on a US side.
Now, obviously, the advantages of the 2-2-1 means that you can actually spread the forces so you can capture multiple points at the same time, and then you can have a single person either acting as a scout or as a roamer to try and do some damage and try and get a nice little pick onto one of those enemy team members and see how that works out. So, at the moment, obviously, we're looking through, you can see in the picture-in-picture on the left-hand side, we're looking through the eyes of Asterix as he's in the shop, down on the C point, and you can see Beckenbrook up there just being taken down by nice fire from Crooked. So Crooked's in there as well, and looks like they're now moving to the B site. So you can see here as a nice ambush there by XTS-Bas. XTS-Bas losing his teammate but then being taken down, as now you can see 2EasyBrosiv moving into the B point and then looking to then capture that B point in favour of the US team. But I think it's not going to do them enough, because if you look at the actual bleed at the moment, I don't think they're going to actually be able to get enough bleed on the US team before their tickets run out. Phantom.
Yeah, I think that too.
Okay, so let's just wait and see what's going on, as we're now looking at Crooked making his way up the escalator. Let's move into Crooked's eye view, and now that he's been recovered, as you can see, and looks like, yeah, now one of his teammates was literally dead within about 3 feet, but you can see that as we're looking through the eyes of Asterix, he decided not to go for the revive, and they're pretty much using the med packs to keep themselves as healthy as they possibly can be, as they are in the process of spawning on the C point. Now, it could be that they've not gone for the weapon upgrades as part of a gentleman's agreement as between these two teams, not to outbalance things or things of that nature. Obviously, the playstyle of the Europeans will always differ from the playstyle of the Americans, you know, which is no bad thing. This is always entertaining to see. Wouldn't you agree, Phantom?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I heard suggested last night was having a guy on C roof with an airburst.
Oh.
And he can pretty much lock down the whole map just with that airburst.
Yeah, that could be very interesting. Now, obviously, one thing you don't see is you don't see anybody with the ammo, because invariably, 90% of the time, you don't actually survive long enough to run out of ammunition. Now, these are the kind of things that, you know, most people when they're playing on a pub don't actually consider, but we shall just have to wait and see how the teams get on. So you can see now, they've only lost, it looks like the Chinese team have only lost about 25, 30 tickets since the last time we mentioned it, and the US team have lost nearly half their tickets. So I think it's fair to say that the US team may not be able to come back from this, but they are definitely not giving up the fight. You can see them going for all those points. There's a nice kill there coming in from Tort. He takes down one of the enemy and another one into Orgasmo. Lovely shot coming in from him. So we're looking at him. He's in, pops down the first aid pack, and he's using the AK-12, which is good to see. So a little bit of fire, but unfortunately he got jumped by the entire enemy team. That's a really bit of rough justice there for poor old Tor as he was moving in, and now that attack point has been recaptured for the China team, and the burn is still in the favour of the US team. Will it be enough to win the game? What do you think, Phantom?
I think it won't be, but have you looked at the kill-death ratios of both teams?
Yeah, now that's quite interesting to see. I mean, you look at 2EasyBrosiv, 26 and 17, and you've obviously got Asterix in there with 33, 21. And then you look at the opposing numbers, you've got Crazy Baz in there with 22 and 14, and obviously ADI in there with 24 and 20. So it's quite spread out. Poor old Donut is having a bad day. You've got to feel bad for the Donut. So a little bit of love being sent out to Mr. Donut. As you can see there, Brosive being taken down. A little bit of rapid fire coming in from Crooked as he's trying to respond, as car alarms are being set off all over the place. And now you can see, as it looks like they're now pushing in towards the A point. So there we go, the Chinese team pushing in towards the A. And let's see if we can move in on Crazy Baz. So we're watching Crazy Baz at the moment. Now, I'm interested to know what he's actually with. He's with the AK-5C. And they all seem to be running, obviously, the laser sight, or the laser and the reflex sight, because that's pretty much all you can unlock. Until the actual game comes out, we don't know what's going to be the game that the competitive players will actually, or sorry, what will be the gun and the attachments that the competitive players will move towards. Now, obviously, you got a lot of experience of this, Phantom. What is it about the M16A3 in Battlefield 3 that made all of the teams move towards that?
Well, it was the most balanced gun across all ranges, basically, and the reload time was insane.
Yeah,
but
now, sorry.
Saying that you could use any other gun if you're good enough and outshoot it.
Yeah, now one thing I did quite enjoy is obviously, you know, comparable, not far off it was the AEK. The AEK turned out to be quite good in that respect. Now, obviously, you can see there's only 11 tickets left for the US side, so I think it's fair to say it's pretty much all over. But the teams are continuing to battle it out as Torts gets taken down. Too Easy Bros have also then taken down. He's at 31-20, and they're battling over the B-bomb site, or the B-bomb site, Jesus, over the B flag. And there we go, 100 tickets remaining. China, after 12 minutes and 25 seconds, taking that second round of domination. I don't know if we're going to see a third one. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. So I think they've just lost one of their members on the US side, and we're waiting to see what happens as to whether or not we move on. So your thoughts on that last round then, Phantom?
I thought they did a better job than the previous round of holding off the Chinese team. They did a really good job that round. Even though they lost, they still put up a good fight.
Yeah, now obviously, like you were saying previously, it seemed that the coordination was a little bit off, but they definitely kind of focused together more as a team on this occasion. Now, do you think we're going to see, because one thing I did notice is that the TF guys and IP guys, they were actually moving almost together as a full squad. So all five, possibly even four at times, with another guy roaming around. Do you think that's the way forward, or do you think that maybe a 2-2-1 split or a 3-2 split is probably a better option, given the firepower that is then available to you?
I think it's too early to tell, but from what I've noticed, there's three main lanes, and trying to have a 2-2-1 seems to be the best option so far.
Yeah, now obviously that means that the person who's then running the one has to be very careful, because obviously if he's going to scout or if he's going to check the area, he's got to make sure that he doesn't get taken down too quickly, as that could actually give the advantage to the enemy. So let's find out what's going on. As you can see, the A point now being captured, so we're going to focus in on Baz, who's already got a kill, and we're going to now move in. As you can not hear any game sounds, obviously, because of that music bug, and we're following in Crazy Baz as he's pushing up towards the B wreckage. Now, that's interesting. Have you noticed that B and C points already taken by the Chinese team, Phantom?
Well, they spawn incredibly close to both flags on the Chinese side.
Okay, so that's obviously going to give them a slight advantage as Crazy Baz comes in, takes down one of the enemy, and then gets finished off as more fire coming in from the Chinese team, taking down two members of the US team. So that's Orgasmo and Crazy Baz. And now we're seeing the Chinese team start to move out as Astrix has been taken out. And it looks like the US side, oh, look at this, a potential attack. Oh, no, looks like Torts decided to back off. And we're now waiting to see what's happening, as you can see them pushing towards the C point. Now, if we look at the tabletop option, you can see here how the teams are actually spread out. You can see two members of the US team who are currently spawning at A. There we go. Other members, they're now spawning and pushing out from A. You've got one member who's roaming out and moving down towards C, and another guy who's actually flanking around the side, moving towards B as well. So you can see also from the point of view of this, the Chinese team are staying quite in one area as an entire team, Phantom.
Oh yeah, maybe putting one guy up on the roof right now would be a good idea.
Yeah, now that's a possibility. Now we're looking at Tofi. Now Tofi's obviously up on the balcony at the C point, so he's popping grenades down into that shop because obviously they're going to take fire from the enemy, as that seems to be a very popular little corridor going from the shop to the lift at the back of C. And there we go, the point has been captured by the US team. So now you can see 2 points in favour of China and 1 point in favour of the US team, and the US team is on the back foot. They are 40 tickets adrift after only 2 minutes and 14 seconds. However, this is Battlefield. Things can change very, very quickly indeed, as no doubt Phantom is very much aware.
Oh yeah, I tell you, one thing I've noticed as a general trend is US side seems to be the more powerful side when it comes to winning the round.
When you say more powerful side, could you perhaps put that in a little bit of context, as in they have more advantages, or is it just the weapons? Could you just explain a little bit more detail?
I don't know if it's to do with the spawns, but from what I've seen, every match the US side seems to do slightly better than the Chinese. Even if they lose, like, sometimes the ticket bleed is a little less.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, obviously, I don't know whether or not there's any kind of advantage. Any kind of advantage in that, but obviously, now you can see one guy just moved in there with yellow armbands. You can't really hide in the background. You can't really blend in with the barricades and everything that's going on when you're wearing bright yellow armbands. Now you can see at C point that, I have to say, I'm quite impressed by the use of the barricades at the C point being used to actually defend the team. So you get a guy moving into that point, and he then actually lowers the barricade, so it makes it harder for the enemy team to actually take that point and shoot back at the guys who are trying to defend it. That's quite an interesting tactical decision, wouldn't you think, Phantom?
Oh, that's really good, actually. I've not thought of that yet. Well, I've not seen that yet in a match.
Yeah, well, I just noticed that while they were capturing the C point, that essentially the barriers were down, and obviously that aided them in the defense of that point, and then they raised the barriers, moved out from the C point into the B point. So this is interesting to see what's going on. So this is being streamed. I didn't know whether it was going to be streamed or not. I had to get confirmation, but I didn't know at the end of the day as to whether or not it was going to be streamed, and we just made a decision literally within about 2 minutes of actually going on air, and I thought, what the hell, let's stream it for you guys, so I hope you enjoy. So my apologies if there's been any problems, lack of communication or anything like that, but these things happen when things are arranged at the last minute. So let's see if we can focus in on Orgasmo. No, we won't, because Orgasmo's dead, as indeed is ADI, as he takes a explosion to the back of the head as Beckenbrook is in at the C point, and you can see he's now in there with one of his team. Let's have a look at the overview. So we're in at the tabletop at the moment. We're in at the tabletop. Now you can see obviously the C and the B point owned by the US team, and the A point currently being held onto by the China team. Now obviously you've got looks like to be the China guy. That's Too Easy Brosiv. He was trying to push down towards the B point, trying to get that back, maybe get the bleed back in favour of the China team. And you can see IP Crooked now with Too Easy Brosiv moving forward from the A point, as there we go, Artisan ADI gets taken down, and you can see now the China point is being taken back by Beckenbrook, and then Beckenbrook comes in with a nice double kill into 2 members of the enemy, and Orgasmo then moving in onto the C point to support his teammates. So you can see a pretty intense push, and down on the left hand side you can see a push into the B bomb site onto IP Crooked, and IP Crooked now coming under fire, being taken down very quickly. And I notice even though there is a 3-2 split of the US team, they're not actually that far apart, technically speaking, as a team. Phantom.
Yeah, I mean, you can get, like, across the map in a few seconds. That's a good thing about Domination.
Yeah. Now, obviously, what we're looking at is we can see additional members moving in, and we're going to go back into the first-person mode to see how things turn out. So we're watching Artisan ADI at the moment, and he is in the process of trying to take the point back. There we go. Quick spray into one of the enemies. That's Crook taken down. And now you can see Artisan ADI for the US team trying to get that burn back in favour. Let's have a look at the tickets. 168, 197. So China has the advantage at the moment, but not by much. It's only about 30 tickets, as Tort then takes down his enemy. And we're now looking at Beckenbrook. As you can see, grenades coming out from the A bomb site. A little bit of fire coming down and a grenade as well. Let's move in on Crooked to find out what he's up to with his lovely blue gun. And he's in there recapturing the point in favour of the Chinese team. Little bit of fire. Out comes a nade. He tries to run for it and gets that nade in the back. Very nasty. What's your thoughts on the actual nades? Do you find that the explosive radius is bigger or smaller compared to Battlefield 3?
I've not noticed a difference really, but one thing I learned about the flashbangs is they're going to work like CSGO. I don't know if you knew that.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, that's one thing we haven't seen a lot of is the flashbangs. So that should be interesting to see that being used. Also, maybe we haven't seen smoke. That can also have the potential to be used quite well. You see that used in Counter-Strike an awful lot to protect you from snipers when you're pushing up to certain points and things of that nature. So one thing I have noticed about the grenades is that the actual throw trajectory seems to be actually significantly shallower than it was on Battlefield 3. Now, whether or not that's actually going to be an advantage or a disadvantage when it comes to the actual teams, we'll have to wait and see. But also I tend to notice that the grenades don't bounce as much as they did in Battlefield 3. It's almost like they've got Velcro or some kind of sticky substance attached to them that causes them to literally stop in place as soon as they get thrown. How have you noticed anything relating to the grenades generally, Phant?
I've not really tried playing with them that often, to be honest, but I mean, they weren't even that bouncy in BF3, so...
Okay, well, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just suck. So it's a possibility that I can't discount based on the evidence that's available on the internet. So let's just see, as we now see the fight going on over the C point. And you can see China looking pretty good at the moment. You can see they've got the A and the B site, and they're now trying to capture that C point. There we go. They've got all 3 tickets. So it now looks like XTS-Bas, the TF and IP team, now have the disadvantage, because they are down literally 70 tickets and time is ticking. 8 minutes and 38 seconds left, gone past on the clock. And let's see if we can move in on Artisan ADI. So he's in at one of the points, is getting ready to capture, and it looks like they're going to try and get that bleed off as he takes a little bit of fire, shot in the chest right underneath the television. And it's not looking good as far as he's concerned. Now you can see obviously Beckenbrook in there with an AK-12, with the standard barrel and the laser sight, and of course the Cobra, and managing to take down one of the enemies. So that was UMF Asterix, and we're now waiting to see how this round turns out. But definitely a better round as far as the Chinese team are concerned. Wouldn't you agree, Phantom?
Yeah, it seems a lot more balanced. Maybe now they've got they're warmed up and they know what they're doing now.
Yeah, definitely more effective play by the Chinese team, which is a good thing to see. Looking at Too Easy Brosive with 22 and 10. XTS-Bas in there with 14 and 17. And obviously you've got the likes of Asterix in there, who's in with 23 and 14. So good scores generally. And you can see everyone pretty much running assault as you would expect. As there we go, ADI being taken down very quickly by Asterix. Turns to respond, chucks down the med pack and tries to keep himself healthy. Now, the B point in the process of flashing like a $5 hooker. And you can see now, as we can see a bit of fire coming in, as Asterix hiding behind one of the vehicles. He's going to take a hit from a grenade, but he manages to survive, but the bullets unfortunately prove otherwise. So we're now watching to see what's going on as the battle is going on around the B point. We're looking at the C point as well. That's in the process of being captured by a member of the US team. And you can see the B point now also under the attack from the US side, and you can see Beckenbrook being taken down very quickly, so they might be able to capture that point and get the burn back in their favour. So you can see the C point being captured. 60 tickets left for the US team. They have it all to do. They are literally halfway behind when it comes to tickets, and we just have to see how it turns out. But look at that, Brosive with 24-11, and it's looking pretty good. Asterix with 26-15, and yeah, it's XTS-Bas and friends on the TF and IP team seem to be having a bit of a problem on this particular round, Phantom.
It seems like Brosive has really stepped up the game as well. I've been watching him, he's doing really, really well, like playing smart as well.
Now, one thing I have noticed that was mentioned in chat is they agree things like no roof rules, and it's so nice that I've just mentioned that, and two guys have just turned up on the roof and made a complete bloody liar out of me. So anyway, we'll have to completely discount that as we're now moving down the C point. As you can see, pretty much a lot of fire going on between the C point. Now, obviously, when you consider maps like Metro and Grand Bazaar from Battlefield 3, one thing that is lacking in those maps that you have in this map is the verticality that's available to you. So obviously, even if you go onto the roof, you still have those additional balconies above you and things of that nature. Obviously, when you were around the C flag on Grand Bazaar, you did have the balcony and the areas above the buildings. So, but verticality is more of an option. Maybe we'll see more of it when Battlefield 4 is released, Phantom.
Yeah, definitely. But right now, it's not really helping the Chinese team staying on the roof. Oh, there we go. They're parachuting off now. There
we go. So you can see them moving into the B point now as a force, moving together, and you can see them basically staying together as a team. Now, if we move to the tabletop view, we're going to get a quick look at see how the team is actually broken up. So you can see that you've got Tufi over here as one side, trying to guard that point that's remaining. You've obviously got Beckenbrook moving in, you've got Artisan ADI, and it looks that they're actually doing a similar split to what we mentioned. However, Artisan ADI is now being closed in from 3 directions. He's managed to bring his teammate back up, and you can see them now that they're actually doing is they're doing a little bit of roof fun. And you can see Beckenbrook taken down as Artisan ADI is also up there doing the glass thing, so to speak. As you can see Quickyo being finished off by Artisan Orgasmo. And now you can see them moving into the C point as the B point is now starting to flash. And I think it's fair to say that with only 100 tickets left, China have maybe taken this round. 28 tickets left for the US team. It's turning out to be quite a different round on this occasion. What's your thoughts on that, Phantom?
Yeah, I love the fact that it's a lot more close now. It's never fun watching a one-sided game.
Absolutely, yeah. Much rather see a very, very close game down to the wire. This is the kind of excitement that we like to see in a battlefield. And you can see grenades coming down from what looks to be the roof. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. Let's just pop up there and see what's going on in the roof. So you got to feel kind of sorry, I have to say, for... and this has got to be the longest period that building has ever stood, that flipping skyscraper. But you got to feel sorry for the poor bastard who actually owns that shop, coming in on a Monday morning and looking to see what they've done to the damn thing. It's, yeah, that's an unfortunate day at work. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen.
I think that was one of the longest rounds I've actually witnessed so far.
Yeah, previous rounds were about 12 minutes 25, 11 minutes around that sort of thing, 13 minutes and 48 seconds. And a great play there by Too Easy Brosiv, Tort, Asterix, Quickyo and Crooked. And they have taken that round. So that's 2 rounds to 1 in favour of TF and IP. And I don't know if we'll be going to another round. We'll have to wait and see. So
one thing that was being discussed last night was instead of doing it by tickets, we'd be doing it by maps in the full release.
Oh, really? So in other words, you play a map. Would you see, that's interesting, because when you play that, would you actually play that as you play both sides of a map, one half each, so to speak, and then actually you'd have to play 3 sides, technically speaking, to either win the map or draw the map. I mean, it's tricky how you decide to do that. How many rounds would you play on each map, do you think?
I think 2 rounds on each map, moving to each map, might work.
So yeah, so in other words, technically what would happen then is you would play 2 rounds on one particular map. If one team wins one round, one team wins another, then it becomes a draw map, and then you move on to the next map, and then obviously if that happens again, you're on to a draw. So you have the potentials of golden caps or something along those lines for the actual final round. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it turns out, or whether or not they actually don't do it via tickets, and you could do it based on time. So the tickets are there, and it's just about who has the most amount of tickets at the end of the time. I don't know. These are things that everybody's actually going to try and work out when the game is actually released. So in the meantime, you can see now that the US team currently has one of their points being taken over, as we listen to the music in the background, as we watch Mr. Quickyo, who is currently in the location of the B capture site, now moving in on the A capture site. And let's see if we can move into his first person position. There we go. So he's now moving up to help Tort as he's taken down multiple members of the enemy. There's Beckenbrook taking a few battle scars, as you can see, as we move over to try and open up the team views. and wait and see what happens. So we're now watching Too Easy Brosive. Obviously went clutch. You can see Tort's in there with 4 and 1. Very nice indeed. Now he's at 4 and 2 as he just dies. As you can see, Crazy Baz. Bit of fire coming in onto the C point. Now we're watching Too Easy Brosive, and he's trading fire with Crazy Baz, takes him down, and now is in the process of trying to ensure that that C point remains captured. So looking pretty good so far. Let's see how the numbers are looking, and it's in favour points-wise of the US team. Only by about 20 tickets thus far, Phantom.
Yeah, I don't know if you've looked, but if you go in third person, you can actually see the total number of kills for each team. That's really interesting. 26 and 10 and 13 and 19 for the Chinese team.
Yeah, you get that. Yeah, that's you can actually get that in first person as well, so that's very helpful to see as well. So just looking at that, yeah, 15 to 20. So that gives you an idea of how the team's doing generally, which is very helpful. The only thing I will say, this is feedback from Mr. Mattress, is it would be nice to actually see like a little bar showing the player's health in the actual squad information, so you can basically say, yeah, this is how much their health is on, because we can't necessarily tell how much health they actually have at this current moment. So as we can see, things are looking pretty okay as far as China are concerned. So you can see as the postman arrives, thank you postman, that's very nice, and you can see looks like a little bit of fun going on. As you can see, there we go, looks like they're being pushed into the C point as trading fire as Tort gets taken down. And now let's see if we can lock in on the tabletop view. As you can see, the A point has been captured in favour of the US team. The B point in the process of being pushed pretty hard. There's Quickyo trying to defend himself with the M26, but unfortunately being taken down as the C point is then being captured and is now being captured in favour of the US team. China have managed to capture the B point. So looking interesting thus far with the advantage on the US side, I would say, Phantom.
Yeah, one thing I'm seeing the Chinese team doing is putting a lot of guys on the burn. I think they're trying to get the flags fast by putting a lot of guys on the burn.
Yeah, now obviously that means that you know, this is domination, so the burn's pretty quick and the flag swap is pretty fast. So obviously that advantage in numbers will certainly help you out when it comes to the actual speed. But obviously all it's going to take is one very nice juicy nade in the right place and it's all over.
Yep.
Okay, so you can see the battle going on for the B-bomb site. As you can see, the Chinese and the Americans still fighting. Quickyo gets taken down. Another US person gets taken down. It looks like China may have that point. So it's looking better in that respect, as the C point is now in the process of being captured by the US team. You can see them capturing the C point, and it looks like they do have the shutters down to try and protect themselves against any pushes in by the Chinese team as the car alarms go off in the background, and we make our way through to them all to find out what's going on. Now you can see, let's see, is there anybody on the roof at this current moment? We can't see them, and we'll just have to wait and see, as now the A point is being captured by the US team, and a lot of fire going in as 2 members of the US team taken out as they make their way into the A bomb site. And we move in to find out what's going on. As you can see, 2 feet in there as well. Now he's in with the ACWR. He's got the reflex sight and the laser sight and the muzzle brake and the ergo grip. Now for those of you not familiar with the ACWR, very high cyclic rate on that weapon, probably a little less damage than other weapons, but it's got that high cyclic rate. That means you can spit the bullets out as quickly as possible. Have you played around with the ACWR? What's your thoughts on it, Phantom?
I've not actually used it yet in Battlefield 4. Have you?
Yes, I have. I am deeply in love with it. But then that's because I can spit as many bullets as possible, and accuracy is not actually a factor. But no, it's I have to say I found it to be quite effective, both at range and up close and personal, obviously because of the high cyclic rate. So we can see Orgasmo, who's currently hiding in a box. And now,
I think he should have closed that door.
Yeah, he should have closed that door. But you know, to be honest, you know, it's easy to be wise in hindsight. But you know, we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. But yeah, the ACWR I do like. Obviously, it's an interesting gun to use. Oh, Asterix popping out, taking down Beckenbrook with a very nasty shot. As we're now watching Beckenbrook, he then finished off by members of the US team, and we're waiting to see. So let's just see what's going on. So let's just find out, as we are now in the process of watching the battle for C going on, as Tufi gets taken down, and we should move over to the tabletop view to find out how they're spreading their forces over. So you can see it's quite interesting. You've got Tort and Too Easy Brosiv. They're guarding one of those particular areas. You've got Crooked, who's trying to push the B point, unfortunately being taken down. And you've got Asterix now being finished off. He then gets revived very quickly. So we're watching Asterix. Oh, he got caught by the back end of a grenade. Very nasty indeed. And we're now watching Quickyo, who's in the process of trying to trade fire at the C point with one of the enemy. He's trying to get onto that burn to try and make sure that he captures that point. And now we're looking at a situation where the US team now has the B and C point, and the A point is in the process of being captured. So currently looking very interesting. Let's see how things are going to turn out. There's quite close. When you look at the tickets, there's only 20, maybe even less than 20 tickets between them, Phantom.
Yeah, this is a really, really good game to watch. Both teams are like playing really, really good.
Yeah, they've really stepped up their game. This is fantastic to watch. My thanks to go to all the teams and all the players that have actually taken the time to play this game. And obviously to Phantom, who's decided to join us for this commentary. And you can see, obviously, plenty of fire and shenanigans going on as we make... That's the only thing that's annoying, is until they break the glass, I can't fly through the damn thing. So never mind. These are minor details. Although it would look rather strange if the camera actually started breaking the glass. But we'll have to wait and see, as now you can see the A point currently under the control of the US side, and the B point now in the process of being captured. C is held by China. There we go. The US team capture that point, and let's move in with Quickyo, as Quickyo for the US team moving up towards the mall. You can see that the shutters haven't yet been brought down, but he's peeking. He's looking. There we go. Orgasmo pops in through the window and gets taken down very quickly. Turns to look at one of the enemy teams, and looks like they're going to try and capture that point, but no, gets taken down very quickly. Quickyo finished off, as now we're looking at Torts in a massive battle, like pops out the pistol. Oh, fantastic play there by Torts, but unfortunately finished off. So Torts are doing a fantastic job, 20 and 16 as well, doing pretty good as far as he's concerned. So you can see lots of battles going on. Let's see if we can lock in on the free cam over the B site. So let's see if we can find out what's going on. So you can see a huge amount of fire around the container, the big blue container outside the front of C. Lots of fire coming in from China. And there we go, a little bit of a revive there done by Beckenbrook, who then promptly gets shot down by the US team, who are currently all sitting at the C point. Now, you can see obviously the B point being held by the Chinese team, and also now the A point being captured by China. So you can see that the team actually for the US has spread itself all over the place. Let's just see. No, sorry, correction. We're now looking at Asterix for the US side, and Crooked over on one side, and Tort. So you can see they've actually spread themselves in a very quite open 2-and-2 arrangement. And you can see them now pushing A and pushing B at the same time, and now it means that they can actually push as a number of 3, possibly down onto the A bomb site, but unfortunately they just got cut down. So it's turning out to be interesting to see how they actually work this, Phantom.
Yep, I'm loving China right now. They're pushing, and they're all spread across the map right now. Oh, they just got taken down.
Yeah, absolutely beaten like a red-headed stepchild. So hello to everyone in chat. Hope you're enjoying the cast thus far. So let's see as we now move in. And you can see here a little bit of European battlefield for goodness. My thanks to all the teams that have attended, and my thanks to the people that are watching. Obviously, feedback is very welcome. Obviously, if you start shooting at me, that's not the kind of feedback I appreciate. However, we are now looking at IP Crooked as he's pushing in towards the B bomb site, taking fire from that bomb site. He's going to have to be very careful as fire comes in. He's decided to back off and do a little bit of shopping, as we'll now move in and find out what Brosiv is up to. So we're watching Brosiv. He's making his way in towards the C bomb site, checking the containers, as you can see, working together with one of his teammates. There we go, a bit of fire into the enemy, and he's going to try and charge up the paddles to get a little bit of fire, but he gets taken down very quickly. So let's see what's going on as we continue to watch around the B bomb site. So you've got Tort the Toads, Too Easy Brosiv, and you can see the US team pushing up pretty intensely onto the B bomb site, the A bomb site being captured at the same time. And look at Too Easy Brosiv, he's 28 and 9. He's really bringing the pain today.
Wow, there's only a 7-ticket difference right now.
Hey, Lord, yeah, there is. Bloody hell. Holy crap, this is a serious game going on here, boys and girls. And hello, Lord Disaster. Thank you very much. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. And yeah, it was a good fun game. Commentary that was, and working with Richard is never dull, that's for sure. So as you can see now, the point being captured. So looking at the C point looks relatively secure, isn't flashing at the moment. The A and the B site, as you can see now, currently flashing. As you can see there, the Chinese team take the B point, the American teams take the A point, and now they're going to be fighting over that final point. So there we go. Asterix gets taken down at the area of the C. Oh, fire coming into Brozov. He then gets taken down as Bockenbrook and Artisan ADI and Orgasmo all move in on that point as quickly as they possibly can. So you can see the flags now starting to flash, and look at that. China have got a lockout on all of those points. This is going to be really unfortunate now. This is going to be the US team. Unfortunately, they might snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And look at the burn is now massively onto the US side. 77 to 50 tickets. And the US team have to turn this around very quickly, Phantom.
Yeah, they lost 10 tickets within the space for about 10 seconds then or something, right?
Yeah, something like that, because I think what it was just for a brief period, for those 10 seconds, China had all the points. And that burn really, literally, almost cut their numbers in half. It was absolutely brutal. So you can see the C point now being captured by what looks to be the US team, as Asterix takes a shot in the face. Very nasty indeed. He drops to the floor, dead as a doornail, and more grenades being thrown in onto the Chinese team by the US team. And let's see as the arcade is continuing to be captured. So now we shall move up and find out what's going on, see if there's anybody up on the roof. So we're watching from the roof of the C point. You can see the Americans working together to try and take out the members who are in the shop of the Chinese team, as the C point is looking like it's going to be captured at the same time as the B point has now been captured by the Chinese team. So let's just see, 67-42 at the moment, and now the A point being recaptured by the members of the Chinese team. Let's see if we can lock in on the likes of Artisan ADI. And we're now watching him as he's holding on to the A bomb site. One of his team pops out a nade and now starts pushing in a little bit more towards the C point. Maybe looking over to the right hand side to the B point. But there's a bit of fire coming and takes down Tors and also takes down poor old Crooked, but then gets finished off very quickly. 61 tickets in favour of China, 29 in favour of the US. This is absolutely down to the wire here, Phantom. Who seems to have fallen asleep? So, let's have a look, see what's going on, as we're looking at 60 tickets to 20 at the moment, and now it's not looking good for the US team, as we're now looking at C and B being, or C being captured or being held by the US team, and now we're also looking at the B point being held by the US team. So this could be a turnaround that they're looking for. Now the burn is massively onto the Chinese team. Look at those numbers going down. Oh my goodness, this is insane. As we're now looking at the C point being recaptured by China, the American team have to get in there very quickly and try and take that point back, which is exactly what they're doing. They're focusing their attention onto that point. 34 in favour of the Chinese team, and it's going down very quickly as the A point is now being captured very quickly by the opposing team. So the China's going for that A point, and the B point is also flashing as well. This is looking pretty serious, as now you can see the teams starting to move around. They've only got 15 tickets remaining, 21 tickets in favour of China. It's getting pretty intense as we're now moving towards the A bomb site. A bomb site, the flag point, there we go, down goes Orgasmo, and we're now watching as Beckenbrook is going to defend himself from being attacked from all directions. 14 tickets to 12, another ticket goes down, China, and they're down to 9 versus 13. This is literally down to the wire. More fire coming in as another ticket goes down in favour of the Chinese team, and then there we go, look at it, 12 and 5, and I think it's fair to say that the US team have actually managed to pull this back with a quick sudden cap. Look at that, 11 tickets, holy crap on a stick. That was pretty intense.
That was amazing to watch.
That was fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what Battlefield is all about. Wow. Holy crap. Yeah, sorry, I thought you'd fallen asleep there for a second, mate. You just went very quiet.
I was just letting you do your thing.
Oh, right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for watching. I hope you've liked this inaugural cast of Battlefield. Obviously, I've done another cast for Team Epsilon recently. That's actually available on YouTube. It's not actually public yet. I'm going to get approval to do that. And hopefully we'll be bringing you some more Battlefield goodness. Obviously, check Brett FX. He's going to be doing some more work and casting for Battlefield. So my thanks to all the teams. My thanks to everybody for sorting this out. To Baz from ESL for helping to get this organised. And obviously to the President, Corey, for sorting out things relating to the server. And my thank you to you, Phantom, for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Chad.
It's been fantastic, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I know I have. I'm buzzing. I want to go shoot people on Battlefield 4. So that's what we're going to do. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.